Okay, so we're on the ship. Columbus is the captain, trying to find a new way to India, but taking the western route instead. We have one character. So Queen from Aragona, I believe her name was Isabella from Aragona, she gave permission and she put as a condition her brother Alejandro on the ship as well. And then as the oranges are depleting and people are starting to suffer from scurvy, and Alejandro is organizing a mutiny against Columbus.
AKA, it means that they're invading.
As he's doing that, Alejandro gets murdered with a dagger. Aiden, did you see there was a crab in there?
There was?
So, Alejandro, as he's organizing this mutiny, gets stabbed through the heart with a dagger.
That must have.
Now we need to figure out who killed Alejandro. Columbus has a huge problem because he has to cross the ocean with his men intact on his way to India. He has to make sure that his people don't die, and he will for sure be punished when they get back to Spain because under his watch the brother of the queen died. In his crew there are a couple of interesting characters. Aiden, who are on the crew?
Bob.
Your turn to talk.
Bob. He's 27.
He was with Columbus all this time, right?
Sambro is 36. And Maria is 25.
And she is the dagger woman.
Yeah. And we have our cook, which is named Bob Jr.
Oliver. His name is
Oliver, fine.
Yeah, and he's mean.
Yeah.
So Bob is Columbus's faithful servant. They've been together for 25 years, and he has been given the task to be an oarsman. And he's very unhappy about this task because he actually had asked Columbus if he could be his lieutenant this time around. But Columbus wanted somebody of trust within the men, the ranks of the men. So he said, "No, Bob, you have to be an oarsman." And Bob was unhappy about that because he was actually he's from Indian descent, and he was from a high caste. And he felt that this was below him, and he had served Columbus well, and he thought, well, this is not really, fair, exactly. Then Sambro is the medicine man. He's from China, and he helped Columbus get better one day. So Columbus had handpicked his people, his trusting inner group, because he knew that this was going to be a difficult voyage. And so Sambro was the one with all the herbs and able to bring people back from life. But he couldn't bring Bob back, because Alejandro back. Alejandro had a dagger stuck through his chest. And then Oliver, he was a mean guy. He was mean. He was the chef or the cook on the boat, and he had to deal with the rations, and he would make the worst food. And then sometimes he would keep oranges to himself. But now that the oranges had actually really finished, there was a real problem on the ship. Maria, who was the dagger woman.
What's the big problem?
Well, people are hungry and they're dying of scurvy. That's the big problem. And
what is scurvy?
Scurvy is that disease of no vitamin C that I told you.
Okay.
And so Maria, the dagger woman, she's basically Columbus's bodyguard. It's a good bodyguard because people never thought that she could be a bodyguard because she was, a woman. But she was fast and she was strong and she was ruthless. And then there was... Who was the other one that's left over? There was one more character. Oh yeah, there was Isaac. Isaac was the young Jewish boy from Amsterdam who, because his family had nothing left anymore, he figured he would try his luck in the new world. And his ability was to run as fast as the wind.
They were stuck in the water, away, and a storm was coming down. Dun, dun, dun. 3 people, trapped in a big storm. The boat was breaking. They finally saw land, but it was like 3 million miles away.
Okay, what happened then?
The sail broke. They started sinking. Alejandro's
dead, remember?
Yeah, I know Alejandro's dead. Sunbro got on the ship. Yeah, I know. Sunbro got got everybody on the ship and used his medicine to heal them. The ship was really sinking.
Him back on the ship?
No, the ship had capsized.
Oh, capsized. That's crazy. And what happened then?
So they swam to shore.
Oh, they saw what, America? Or
Yeah.
Did they reach land?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me.
And they cut down some trees with Maria's machete.
Uh-huh.
And they built a house.
But we still don't know who killed Alejandro.
Yeah, I know. And we built a fire at night.
Okay.
Another person dead.
Another person? Who died?
Sunbro.
Sunbro, the medicine man, died?
Yeah, he died.
But why?
Because he got his nuts cut off.
Oh. He did?
Yeah, because he died.
But what was the reason? Why was he a bad guy?
No, because he just died. So the murderer killed him.
Okay, now Columbus has a big problem.
Columbus is really upset.
He found land. Now his medicine man is dead. The queen's brother is dead. And he still has amongst his troops Bob, the oarsman, Oliver, the cook.
No, Oliver's not the cook.
Yeah, he's the cook. Maria, the dagger woman, and Isaac, the young adventurer boy. And then, of course, he still had like 20 people left in his crew.
Yeah,
But they were like his army.
Yeah.
They would just do what they. Yeah, they were sort of so sick and weak because they had all suffered from scurvy. And he's wondering, have we reached India? We are on an island, or we are on land, and let's go exploring the island to see if indeed they had reached India. So they go exploring the land. Had they arrived in India, they didn't know. And then as they're walking around with their machetes and pistols, but in a very weak state, they come across a fire that is burning, not their own fire. And as they approach, they smell food and they see fruits and vegetables, and they're like, oh my God, but there's nobody there. So they go and they approach, and they're so hungry. They eat everything that's there. There was meat and corn and lots of delicious meal. And then out of the bushes comes this man.
No.
His name, he didn't speak any English or Spanish or Italian. And he said, how to walk.
But because there was one person that didn't eat any of the food, and his name was Bob. Dun dun dun. For starters, nobody should just eat food sitting there on a fire. It might be a mirage. The strange figure said, I walked to a tent. The tent was filled with dead bodies.
Really?
Yeah. Bob clearly didn't trust the guy. There were millions of dead bodies, thousands, hundreds, gazillions. There was a huge temple, inside the tent with a king that was ruling many of the figures that looked like the guy that said "Ow." Bones, the heads, everything was surrounding the temple.
The temple's in the tent?
Yeah,
That's amazing.
I know, because the temple's underground.
Okay, what else?
They started chasing the crew. They
There's
almost...
only one alive Arawak, right?
No, not Arawak. Arawak is dead. There are millions.
I thought they were all dead.
No! Those are the people that they killed. There are like thousands of them.
Okay, so tell me the story. What happened? Our crew is being chased?
Yeah. And they had tons and tons of arrowheads that they threw at them.
Oh my goodness. What else?
They got one, but he escaped.
Which one was caught?
Bob was caught.
Oh,
But then they got him again. And they pulled him into their temple, never to be seen again.
Okay, so Bob has been captured by the natives.
But we can
We
still try to save him.
We can still
Christopher.
save him. But so Christopher has a huge, even bigger problem. He's on this island. He's on land. We don't know if it's an island. With savages who are obviously very cruel because they kill themselves. They kill their own.
They don't kill their own. They kill the people that invade their temple.
That was the bones of others
Yeah.
that had arrived before them.
Yeah.
Now I get it. So they protect their land from invaders. But now we only have left Isaac, Maria, Christopher,
And what's his name?
and
Oliver.
Oliver, the mean chef. So they were running back to the ship. They roused the
The ship is
sleeping men.
way broken.
The ship is broken.
They built the tent.
They have some men there
And they
who'd
built
been, taking care of themselves, trying to get their strength back. So as the natives are pursuing them, they get their men to wake up, and there's a battle. And the poor natives, they only have arrowheads, and Christopher Columbus is his team. They have rifles, they have muskets, they have cannons, and very soon they have conquered, overtaken from the natives.
At the temple,
And meanwhile, at the temple,
they had stolen all of Bob's weapons. His rifle, his Glock, his machine gun, his cannon that was really small that somehow fit in his pocket. And they went out to invade the Christopher and his crew.
but they came up to a big surprise, because when they got to the beach, their own people were laying there dead. And the invaders were successful. They were victorious. So the invaders, feeling very emboldened by their victory, they marched to the tent with the underground temple, and they rescued Bob.
Why would they rescue Bob?
Because Bob's on their team.
No,
What happens next?
The natives are outrageous. They run. They throw all their arrowheads at them. They kill Bob and Bob's horse. And they take no one. But they die. Half of the natives die. Christopher shot most of them down by cannon, while Mary killed them with her,
Sword.
her blade.
And what did Isaac do?
Isaac sit there like a baby,
And what did
eating
cook
chips.
do? What did the cook do?
The cook got his cook knife and just ripped their heads off.
And
Because
so
he was very mean.
Bob died?
Bob's horse died.
Bob's horse died. Bob had a horse. Okay, what else? So Bob's now on foot.
Yeah, Bob's now on foot.
And so how are we going to conclude the story?
Mama, we're still recording.
Okay.
And then they run away. They go back to the ship, and they wake up the army men, and they give them lots and lots of riches that the natives had. They gave them their oranges, their mangoes, everything.
So Columbus has successfully had the first war, for him successfully, with the native people. He doesn't know that this is just the first of many wars with the native people, and that unfortunately these innocent tribesmen will be
millions and millions and millions
will be massacred in the hundreds of years to come. However, at that point he doesn't know this, and he still has his two big problems. Who's the killer amongst his rank, and how is he going to find a way to India? Because where he's landed is definitely not India. What people didn't know is that actually Maria and Columbus were having a love affair. They couldn't have known that, and they weren't able to show that because this was a working relationship. But now that they found land and there was an abundance of food, their love for each other started to perk up again. But he couldn't trust her because she was one of his suspects for the murder of Alejandro and possibly also of Sembra. Who knew who was going to be responsible for all these horrendous or horrible deaths?
Meanwhile, Bob was getting ready to go to bed. He was building a little bed for himself, and he was also a blacksmith, so he built beds for everybody. And he was a woodsman.
He was a carpenter?
Yeah. So he built beds for everybody, and they went to sleep. In the morning, there was another murder.
Who's dead now?
Mary.
Mary was dead? Maria.
Okay, still Mary. And Mary is short for Maria.
Mary's English for Maria.
Okay.
So Maria was dead?
Yeah, Maria dead, murdered. But with her own blade.
Oh, no way. So who is this murderer?
Suspects time, chapter 5. The first one to be suspected was Bob. The first question was, what were you doing when the murder was, done? I was making my bed. Kind of sus.
Kind of suspicious.
Yeah.
We don't know. Columbus was at his wit's end because the woman he loved was now dead. He had actually suspected her because she was such a ferocious woman and full of vengeance, and she thought that he probably had wanted to protect him by killing Alejandro and have the mutiny be avoided on the ship. But then, why would she have killed the doctor? She didn't understand anything about medicine, and now she was dead. Did she kill herself? Was that the plot? But why would she kill herself? They just got back together again and they were happy. Oh my goodness, there only him left with Isaac, the young Jewish boy who hadn't really done much in this movie and this plot, and Bob, who was his trusted man. He did not know, but he had been really busy. Oh, and Oliver, the bad, mean cook. But he'd been so busy taking care of the mission that he sort of lost his attention on the murders, and he still had to figure out how to get that justified because he still had to figure out how to get back to Spain. Oh my goodness.
The next to be
Let me see what you do with the phone.
suspected was Oliver. Oliver was very big, aka fat.
Yeah, how did he get so fat when everybody else was
He had been eating people's heads for generations.
people's heads?
Yeah,
Where did he get people's heads from?
because he wasn't mortal.
Oh, Oliver was a cannibal? He would eat people?
Yeah,
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that.
so that's why he became a cook. Eat people.
Oh, okay, what else? Don't record it. Slush.
So first question was, what did you do during the murder? I was chopping people's heads off. And the last one to be suspected was, what's his name again? Isaac. The first question was,
So
what were
Columbus
you doing?
Is interrogating?
Yeah, what were you doing during the first murder? I was cleaning my butt. And for the last murder, it was nighttime. Everybody had gone to sleep. In the morning, all the crew members were dead.
How did they die?
Because they killed him. Somebody killed him
But with what?
with guns.
Oh, they were shot?
They were shot with pistols. Actually, no. They were killed with machete. Because if you shot a gun in the night, it would make a lot of noise.
So they were chopped.
Yeah, their heads were chopped off,
Oh.
sadly. And it was only Oliver, Isaac, and Bob.
And Christopher.
Yeah, and Christopher.
So who has the motive?
Christopher's most suspected person was Isaac. No, actually, it was Oliver. Oliver was very weird with chopping people's heads off. I mean, who chops people's heads off?
So, all the men were now also massacred. And we just did not know why. Columbus was interrogating Oliver, Isaac, and Bob. Because the rest were dead. And then he was like, who would want to do this? Why would they want to do that? We can't even go back to Spain because now our crew is no longer with us. And it makes no sense. So then he been taking clues. The first clue was the dagger. The second clue was the medicine man was poisoned. The third clue was that... Oh, was the medicine man also killed with the dagger?
He was killed, guys.
With the dagger?
Yeah, wasn't he killed with the dagger, guys?
Oh, the medicine was also killed with the
Guys,
dagger.
we wanted to see if he was killed
And
with the dagger or killed
then also Maria was killed with a dagger. So it had to be somebody who knew how to use knives really well. So of course all suspicions go to Oliver, the cook, because he was actually a cannibal and he loved to eat people, and that's why he was so fat. But that was just too obvious. So he was like, okay, that doesn't make sense, because that's somebody who wants to make Oliver the guilty one. So actually, the real suspect and murderer was Bob. Bob, who was doing as if he was always the nice guy. In the meantime, he was jealous. He didn't want Columbus to succeed. He was like fed up with having served this land for so long, and he was upset. So he was going to do everything he could to make his mission go south, and he did. Now it was just the three of them in a vast country where they
They all went to a big table, and they knew who the murderer was.
It was Bob.
Our murderer was Isaac.
Isaac?
Yeah. He used to be a one of those people that murders people when they like do something bad.
Oh, he was only 15 though. He was
Yeah, I know. He was one of those guys'
with the black
fathers. Yeah, he was with the black mask. He was one of those his sons, and he was trying to please his father by killing everybody, and he stranded them on an island that they didn't even know where it was. So for the last 5 seconds, Isaac was murdered again.
By who?
No, they just killed him together because you killed a murderer. Otherwise, the murderer will kill you. So
Isaac was the murderer.
Yeah.
I thought it was Bob.
It was Isaac.
Okay, good. The end.
Wait, not the end. Episode 2 coming on November 23rd, 2022 on Wednesday. Bye. Please subscribe to our channel.